Hey, this is Jonathan Green of Streamline Properties on Market, brokered by eXp Realty. And what I want to talk to you about today is what a use and occupancy agreement is for sellers and buyers, at least in our market all over the state of New Jersey and in a lot of other states. We're seeing them more than ever before. It's actually a little bit nuts. Almost every time we're bidding for buyers on a property, the seller is requesting what is commonly termed a lease back, but there's a big difference between a lease and a use and occupancy agreement, which I will explain. But they're asking for a use and occupancy agreement, which means they want the buyers to close on the property, pay the money for the house, and then rent them back the property to either finish the school year or to wait a couple months so that they have all the money to go buy a house. So in a traditional market where supply and demand are equal or where supply is more, no one's going to do this. But in this psychotic market, people are doing it all the time. Almost all of my buyer deals that I have under contract have some form of a use and occupancy agreement for a little bit of time. Sellers are using it to leverage their ability to stay in the house, sell early, keep their kids in school all the way till the end of the school year. There is a fee attached to it. Normally, we call it a reasonable fee. Sometimes the reasonable fee is just to pay the buyer's mortgage at whatever their mortgage payments will be, or you can just pick up on a monthly rent. However, because the market's insane and sellers have full control in the state of New Jersey, they're often whittling it down to free, less, anything because of the desperation of buyers. So the most important thing to know about a use and occupancy agreement is that it's different than an actual term of a lease back. It is a lease back, but a lease implies a tenancy. And in New Jersey, it's a tenant-friendly state, so you don't want a holdover tenant. A use and occupancy agreement creates a licensor-licensee relationship, which means if it's violated, you don't have to go through eviction. At least in my opinion, I am an attorney. I'm not licensed in New Jersey. This is not legal advice, but this is how we phrase it. It's much better to have the use and occupancy agreement in place. There are holdover penalties usually for the days. So if you have 10-day holdover at $250 a day, you could make $2,500, which I have made before. So that's the big difference. The reason why sellers are using it is because they want to sell in a hot market and then stay in their house. Again, in a traditional market, no one would agree to this. In psycho world, they're agreeing all the time and buyers are closing. One other major note, which we found out, if you're closing a residential loan and you're planning on moving into the property, you need to move in within 60 days of the closing. So you can't technically have a use and occupancy agreement more than 60 days out from the closing. So some sellers are requesting you close, what is today? May 19th. Close May 19th, but they don't want to move until we want you to move until August. That's more than 60 days and your lender may have a problem with it. There's a few ways to adjust around that, but we're not here to try to commit mortgage fraud. We're just trying to present the best opportunity, create the deals. And on the buyer's end, you can't agree to everything, but sometimes this is a worthy agreement if you can stay where you are for whatever amount of time. The use and occupancy is something, if you can do it, will put you ahead of other buyers who cannot do it and need to move in right away. So that's it. That's what a use and occupancy agreement is for buyers and sellers everywhere. It's going to come up a lot. Still, it's important that you know. Hope this helped.